Hello, and welcome to Live Vedanta, a podcast about simple living and high thinking. We're amidst our latest season, Stairway to Serenity. If you're joining us for the first time, we're exploring the 100 words that are at the core of Hinduism. If you want to jump to the beginning, we have the link in our show notes, and you can also hop to the previous episode. What are we focusing on this week? We have probably asked ourselves what the purpose of living is. If it's to be joyous, then how can we do this when life feels like a roller coaster? What are some of the steps that we can take to go from enjoying to enjoying? Let's tune in.
Hariom, and greetings from Niagara Falls, and a joyous Deepavali to all of you. You all know that Deepavali is when you remember to be happy, yes? That ended for us on November 4th. Now we'll wait until next year to remember to be happy. Enough of such celebrations being events. They're to be movements. Sri Rama in the Ramayana is described as Muda Mangala. These are awesome words. Muda Mangala. Mangala means fundamental, and Muda means fun. Sri Rama and the Ramayana, they focus on the fundamentals in a most fun way. Sri Rama is always smiling. The Ramayana, there are endless adventures. Our course I'd like to describe as Muda Mangala. We too are focusing on the fundamentals in a fun way. We're playing a game together. We're using the Mokshapata. And if I can give you one more perspective on the relationship between Muda Mangala, fundamentals with fun, I've often shared with all of you that contentment is when you want what you need. Contentment is wanting what you need. Muda Mangala, when you find the fundamentals to be most fun. Our 25th headspace was sadhana. Sadhana means seeking. Sadhana is the middle part of three parts in a framework, which are sadhya. Sadhya means the ends, the destination, the goal. To be independently joyous. If there's an ends, there has to be a means. That is sadhana, the path, the practices. And anyone who uses sadhana, they're described as a sadhaka, a seeker who follows practices to the ends. Sadhaka, sadhana, sadhya. What was quite cool is that we explored sadhana and seeking the same day that we released the Seeker's Word Book. The Seeker's Word Book is a map from avidya to moksha. That's where a seeker begins, having forgotten how to be happy, and the ends is moksha, where they remember how to be happy. Our 26th headspace, Brahmacharya. In English, discipline. We have many of our team members who are joining us from the US in Canada. To come to Canada, you have to have a negative COVID test. It is not optional for you to not have this negative COVID test. In the same way, discipline is not optional for those who want to be happy. You're making that connection. When I say Hari Om and greetings from Niagara, if you don't have this negative COVID test, you can never hear that live. In the same way, if we want to move to moksha, we have to embrace discipline. And for those in our Vedanta and Bhagavata course, this Sunday, I'm going to slowly elaborate on how Shri Krishna lived his life. And he lived his life starting with the Brahma Muhurta, which means he woke up, in my mind, 3 a.m., but I've heard other commentators say 4 a.m. And the disciplines that he followed every day is what makes Shri Krishna, Shri Krishna. If we want to be like Shri Krishna, discipline is not an option, is not optional. Headspace 27, ahimsa, which is sensitivity. Ahimsa is a lovely virtue because it is the means and ends. The means, I'm sensitive that there's more to me than my body, which means I'm sensitive that there's more to you than your body. There's a mind, there's an intellect, there's a presence. So the more that I practice this, the more I tune into that presence, that is the ends. The highest ahimsa is oneness. All clear? Shall we continue like we're moving towards moksha? Headspace 28 is kshama. Kshama with a K. In English, forgiveness. Who do you forgive the most? Think about today. Think about this month. Who do you forgive the most? Share their name in the chat. I'm glad some of you wrote yourself. You forgive me the most. What have I done to you? We forgive ourselves the most. Why? I know you know the answer about who you forgive the most. Now tell me why. Stuck now, correct? See how we know technical answers, but we don't know the why of these answers. We forgive ourselves the most because there's a strong sense of oneness. Of oneness. The more separation there is, or ego, the less we forgive. Even observe with the people who are closest to you. I don't mean physically, emotionally, but when your ego flares up or their ego flares up, even the smallest disagreement becomes epic with yelling and staring. Because that oneness is not felt anymore. To be able to practice forgiveness, built into the word kshama is another lovely word. What is that word? Built into kshama is shama. Shama means quietude of mind. Only when we have quietude of mind will we understand and appreciate that beings are more important than circumstances. Be more specific here. If you and I get into an argument, suppose I'm disloyal to you once. That is an event, correct? But for you to qualify our entire relationship or my personality as being disloyal, that would be unfair, correct? You're giving more value to the circumstance, the event, rather than to the being or our relationship. Put more simply, when our minds are agitated, we always focus on what people have done negatively to us rather than positively. So to be able to practice kshama demands shama. When you have offended someone or someone has offended you, communicate. Communication is critical for this forgiveness to be nurtured, to be felt. But there's a higher practice, which I'll just share with all of you to reflect on. If someone has offended you, higher than communication is introspection, where you're able to absorb that offense without you feeling offended. You figure it out on your own. And that actually leads to the highest forgiveness is not being offended in the first place. Correct? If you don't offend me, I don't have to forgive you. So with others communicate, but if others have offended you, more powerful than communication is introspection. Which leads us to the 29th headspace, which is swadhyaya. Swadhyaya means introspection. Our team who designed the Mokshapata have thought about the flow of these words a lot. That's why the sequence of going from kshama to swadhyaya is perfect. Sva means oneself. Adhyaya means a chapter, an analysis of oneself. So in English, introspection. I like to listen to my children carefully. And just today, I came up with an observation, a reflection. What is a 3-word phrase that children say again and again and again, and adults rarely say? 3-word phrase, all clean words. I don't want to read what your dirty minds are thinking right now. Yes, you got it. I don't know. There's so many questions I ask my children. As simple as, do you know what snack I have for you? I don't know. Adults rarely say, I don't know. Yes, adults. And you know what the problem with that is? We don't know who we are. Who are you? Are you going to tell me you're your hair? I was actually going to ask all of you. I joined early and I was looking around at all of you in a friendly way. And I was going to ask all of you, by a show of hands, how many of you have no white or gray hairs? By a show of hands. I see 2, 3 hands on my first screen. Those hands that are up right now, you wait till next year. If not next year, the year after that, you will join our club. But is that who you are? Have you changed so much from black hair to gray hair to white hair? We don't know who we are. Whenever we don't know, what do we do as adults? We project. We make things up. And if you don't know who you are, that expresses as not knowing what to do. No job title, no job description. That is an inefficient way to live. Introspection is a methodology of evolving from enjoying to enjoying, from the E to the I. And this too is a method. This method aligns with satsanga. This is a headspace we've already covered. I'd shared with all of you, What is the first way to practice satsanga? Share with me in the chat. First way. From outside in. You do this with people. Satsanga starts with people. So I should, if I want to engage in swadhyaya, I should enjoy the company of noble people. But I have to keep enjoying. The second form of satsanga, it's not people, but it's people's thoughts. See how all of a sudden people may not be around, but people's thoughts in the form of podcasts or books. And what's the third form of satsanga? Thoughts. Whose thoughts? Your own. Where you enjoy your own mind. You enjoy your own company. But it starts, if you're with awful people, then you're always going to try to create a circumstance to have better people. But if you're with people who are noble, that quality experience, even when you're not with them, you'll be thinking about their thoughts. Then those will become your own thoughts. This is how one comes to introspect more. And one more insight into this common word, swadhyaya. When you start to enjoy more, you start to come to know who you are more. And initially, you're going to find only virtues. You are disciplined, you are directed, you are cheerful. But the more you come to know yourself, underneath those virtues, what will there be? Vices. Introspection is a way of accepting who one is and adapting, which means to evolve. But for those who don't introspect, they're only escaping. Me not knowing about my vices doesn't mean I don't have them. Yes? Introspection. Our 30th headspace. We're almost 1/3 through our journey. It is abhyasa. Please tell me what this means in English. Many of you are Sanskrit and Hindi speakers. Practice. Abhyasa is practice. What is the purpose of living? What is the purpose of why you were born, why you woke up, why you're in this course? What is the purpose? To evolve. Moksha. Moksha bata, correct? To get to moksha, that's how you win this game. It is to be joyous. When we're joyous, we do not need or want any other A, B, or C. But what precedes joy, or being joyous, is being virtuous. Being virtuous precedes being joyous. I want all of you to pause for a moment, and I want you to think of 3 of the most joyous personalities you know. Personalities you know well. You've met them, you've sat with them, etc. You all have those personalities in your mind. Now think, are they more vicious or more virtuous? They're more virtuous, correct? You can open your eyes now, and some strange people keep writing, I'm one of the most joyous people they know, and my name is written. I never asked for that. But don't you see, when one is patient, compassionate, generous, and on and on and on, then one feels more joyous. So now here's the connection. Every experience that we have What was the word I used? Every experience we have is an opportunity to practice values. When you practice values and you succeed in that, they become virtues. Every experience. I was just listening to Puja Guruji Swami Tejomain on the share about the grace of God, and he was sharing that during the Corona pandemic, so much stopped, like travel, optional surgeries, and so on. But what didn't stop? Technology. That's God's grace that technology continued, correct? So even the coronavirus is an opportunity for us to practice values. And if you don't, what do you tend to make? What do you tend to make when you don't practice values? Excuses. How many of you made an excuse today about something? By a show of hands. We all do. And I'll tell you one more insight to know if you're someone who makes excuses or not. Because many of you didn't have your hands up and you should have had your hands up. Those who practice values or don't make excuses are always most interested in every experience. And those who make excuses to practice values are always bored with every experience. And you know what's very powerful about this? Those who are most interested are the most interesting. And those who are the most bored are the most boring. Do you all know such personalities that are bored with everything? They're so boring to be around, yes? I actually find them to be interesting because I just want to know, what is your guna? What is your varna? You know, that's the challenge with studying psychology is you keep wanting to know, why are you like this? What happened? And our final headspace, this is our 31st, it is yajna. Yajna, in English, it means dedication. Yajna is spelled Y-A-J-N-A. Many spell this as Y-A-G-Y-A. Typically Gujaratis do. Who's right? It doesn't matter. This is not a language class. This is a practice class. Yes? If you've ever heard Swami Chinmaya in the talk, Puja Gurudev, so much of what he enunciates for an English speaker like me is not correct. But who cares? I'm here to judge someone who's tuned into moksha's language. How will I ever learn? How will I ever grow then? Yajna comes from the base, yaj, just like bhaja. Yaj, like bhaja, we've already covered the word bhaja. Whenever we think of bhaja, we think of bhaja Govinda, which means to be dedicated to Govinda. Yajna is the same. In our Upanishad, there's a powerful teaching, Yajno ve Vishnu, which in English means dedication is divine. Do you all want to see God? Just observe dedication. There are endless reasons not to be dedicated, but if you ever observe a personality who is dedicated, what do you think their power source is? Their power source is divine. In Srimad Bhagavatam, the teaching is our puja should be a karma puja, which means our puja should not be a ritual in a controlled environment, Our puja should be a dedication in all of our activities. In Meaningful Mornings, I describe this as karma yajna. Not karma yoga, but karma yajna. There are two factors that make up a yajna. And this is the critical point to reflect on and practice. The first is arpana. Arpana means to dedicate. And the second is prasada. Prasada means to sacrifice. If you are dedicated, what will naturally happen? You will sacrifice. Too often we describe yajna to mean sacrifice, but think, sacrifice does not pull dedication. Dedication pulls sacrifice. So arpana, or this dedication, creates prasada or sacrifice. Point to me, who are you dedicated to the most? You should know by now if I ask you to point, to not point to the next person in Zoom whom you don't know. Obviously, you're pointing to yourself. We are most dedicated to me with an M. We have to evolve out of this and be dedicated to we. But it continues from we to, I just said, yajno ve Vishnuhu, dedicated to he or her. And you will know that you're doing this when you don't even know what you're sacrificing. I feel with every word, I've given you a test to know that if you're practicing this word, the test here is, if you keep thinking about what you're giving up, then that's not yajna. But if you don't even know what you're giving up, then that is yajna. We will continue in our 10th class. We will complete 1/3 of our journey. Our journey began with avidya, that is forgetting how to be happy. Does that describe any of you? That you've forgotten how to be happy? Certainly in some circumstances, we do forget how to be happy. Now we're approaching 10 hours into this course. Are you remembering how to be happy? Do you feel more cheerful this week than last week? I pray yes. Because if not, then what is the point of this course? What is the point of the Moksha Pata?
If you enjoyed what you heard or want to learn more, share this episode with a friend or find us online at facebook.com/cmniagara. For those on the journey of self-development, Chinmaya Mission Niagara provides a community forum for seekers to listen, reflect, and contemplate. This podcast is produced by the Young Adults of Chinmaya Mission, an international nonprofit working to transform individuals through the knowledge of Vedanta. Until next time, inspire, love, be.